Ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very serious. Iran has just carried out an unprecedented attack on the largest American military base in the Middle East, the cornerstone of US military bases in the region, which is located in Qatar. Yes, the American military base in Qatar has been attacked, an attack that was highly successful. At this very moment, as we speak, President Donald Trump has called an emergency meeting. He is sitting in the Situation Room trying to make a decision. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you here that the one thing you must avoid in this life is receiving a promise from Iran. Because when Iran makes a promise, Iran keeps its promise. That is absolutely no beating around the bush. There's not even any debate about it. Iran had made a promise, and Iran is now carrying it out. We are also learning that this is not the only base. In Iraq as well, there was an attack. But for now, what interests the world more, what is drawing the world's attention, is the military base in Qatar. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video conference, which I'm already asking you to share as widely as possible. Give it lots of likes, show your support, and above all, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Also, invite your friends to subscribe. The situation is very serious. So, on the national television channel, Iran claimed responsibility about 30 minutes ago. The time I'm recording this video conference, it's exactly 5:47 p.m. GMT. Iran is claiming responsibility for a strike on the American base at Al Udeid in Qatar. Al Udeid, that's the name of the military base. Then, in an official statement, with martial overtones and imbued with religious symbols, the Iranian armed forces claimed the responsibility for this devastating strike against the Al Udeid base, located in Qatar. It is an operation called Besharat al-Fatah. Besharat al-Fatah. I will come back to you later with the significance of this operation. Yes, Besharat al-Fatah. This is Iran's response to what America did to its nuclear site. According to the statement, share the video conference with me. Share it. The world is entering another dimension of the conflict in the Middle East. So according to the statement released by the Iranian authorities and signed by the headquarters, not the central headquarters, Rasul al-Azam, the attack was coordinated by the Supreme National Security Council and carried out by the forces of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, with the code word Yaba Abdullah al-Hussein, a direct reference to the revered martyr of Karbala. So they planned their operation so thoroughly that the operation has a name, the operation has a code name. They are determined, I'm telling you. Yes. And America was right to be afraid. As we saw in our previous video conferences, America was right to be afraid. Because what started like this is very serious. And Iran is not stopping there. In fact, Iran adds that it's no longer the time to strike and run. You can't come and hit us and then make a run for it. Flee. And then stay at a distance to call for peace, thinking that we will submit to your diktat. This is what Iran is saying. Now, what needs to be clarified is that the targeted base, Al Udeid base, is very important. It houses the headquarters of the U.S. Air Force. It's the headquarters of the U.S. Air Force in the Middle East. Yes, the headquarters of the U.S. Air Force in the Middle East. And this base is one of the pillars of the American military presence in the region. One of the pillars of American military bases in the region. And that's why, for Iran, this facility is not a strategic asset for America, but rather a weak spot for the American army, which they describe as a ground-to-ground army. Yes. So the act of striking this particular facility, specifically hitting this strategic base with such precision and effectiveness, represents an absolutely unprecedented success, truly a remarkable and significant achievement in every sense of the word. And no one could have imagined that any state in the world would dare to take the risk. Quite simply, of accepting to trigger a war with America. Because attacking America's most important base in the Middle East is to declare war on America, which has power. America, which has more capabilities compared to Iran. But as I told you in one of our previous video conferences, Iran is like a man. That is to say, when something hurts you, you make a decision to fix it. Even if you don't have enough strength, God Almighty will help you. Since you are in the right, you are justified. Otherwise, for several hours now, all American military bases have been on maximum alert. We already discussed this in a previous video conference. Isn't that right? But despite everything, they managed to. Let's go a little deeper now. Make sure you have shared the video conference. Just to be sure, have you shared it? So in its message, which had an unmistakably belligerent Tonia message, where you can sense warmth, the Iranian army declared that the era of hit and run is over. The era of hit and run is over. That's the Iranian army speaking like that. You cannot eat us and run away. So the Iranian army is warning against any further attack, which, according to them, would accelerate the collapse of American military infrastructure in the Middle East and help fulfill the common dream of the Islamic Ummah, the eradication of the Zionist cancerous tumor. Yes. So they announced that, in any case, they are warning America against any further attack on Israel or Iran. If they attack Iran, whether it's Israel or themselves, if they attack Iran, then it will be the end for the state they are trying to protect. So in this speech, they used religious and nationalist rhetoric. Yes. And so this offensive is presented as a sacred act of resistance carried out in the name of the martyr and the noble, resilient Iranian people. Since this offensive is taking place just a few days before the start of the holy month of Muharram, a period of Shiite mourning that commemorates the sacrifice of Imam Hussein. So the Islamic Republic grounds its discourse in a purely religious and mobilizing register. And so Tehran also directly links the American aggression to Israeli influence, denouncing what it calls a strategic complicity between Washington and Tel Aviv. Now, what remains clear is that we do not yet know the extent of the damage. We do not have any information about the extent of the damage at this time. But what remains clear is that we'll be given all the information. And as soon as we have details about the extent of the damage, we will come back to this here on the platform for awakening consciences. So thank you to each and every one of you. This was the voice of your one and only samurai.